Continuing coverage tonight after a man was arrested twice in one day. He was caught on camera carrying a knife and approaching homes in Arden Park.
He was in court today and his probation was revoked. Tonight, neighbors say they're worried about keeping their community safe.
ABC 10's Roxanne Elias is following that story live for us tonight. And Roxanne, the court hearing did not necessarily go as planned today, right?
That's true, Chris. I haven't really seen a courtroom like this and this type of behavior. Now, today, firsthand, we were able to witness that erratic behavior that neighbors in Arden Park say they've been dealing with this entire time. And now, Brian Mattson, he walked into the courtroom quietly at first, but things quickly took a turn. He began asking questions about the process, and he was quickly asked to leave the courtroom altogether.
Are you Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Within a few seconds of making his first appearance in court on Tuesday, Brian Mattson began loudly making demands to the judge.
Can I have some paperwork that says what time I'm looking at?
Mattson is the man arrested twice in one day this past Saturday after being suspected of carrying a knife and trespassing in the Arden Park neighborhood. This ring camera video shared with ABC 10 shows the man at a home along La Sierra Drive holding the knife and moving it toward the door. According to the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, he was initially released the first time he was arrested. Deputies also determined Mattson was on felony probation, but Sacramento County Probation declined to place a hold on him, according to the Sheriff's Office. He was released in less than 2 hours after being booked. After being released, he was arrested again later that same night, once again for carrying a knife and trespassing. The Sacramento County Probation Department responded after questions about how this case was handled. In a statement, officials say in part that the situation stemmed from miscommunication and a need for clear procedural guidance, and they're treating it as an isolated event. They added they're now working with law enforcement to improve coordination while emphasizing their priority remains public safety. Michael Duville, an Arden Park father, was in court Tuesday to watch the case unfold. He says while it's difficult to see someone in this situation, the community is focused on finding solutions.
I hope that the individual gets help where it's appropriate, and I'm not going to assume what he needs. But obviously this behavior speaks to kind of what we saw as well, in a much different situation. So obviously we need to take that into consideration when deciding what happens from here on forward.
Supervisor Rich Desmond says he became aware of the situation on Saturday. He says it was extremely disturbing and concerning, and he says he immediately reached out to the sheriff's office.
I've spoken directly to our probation chief, to our deputy county executive here at the county who oversees public safety issues. He's our liaison with the sheriff's department. Today, I have a very high level of confidence in our local officials working well together.
He says this in terms of what led up to this, and so they have better communication and coordination when these situations come up. It's unclear what caused Mattson to act in the manner that he did, but neighbors say he is homeless and lives behind some homes in an encampment. We reached out to the Department of Homeless Services and Housing to ask if they had any prior contact with him, but to protect client privacy, they say they can't share that information. Jana Haynes adds that while outreach teams are working in the community, they can't force anyone to accept services.
There are so many systems involved in treating somebody who has potentially a severe mental health disorder, who has substance abuse issues, who is also facing homelessness and may feel hopeless. There are system failures that got people to this point, and there's certainly systems that can help lift them out.
Desmond also says he's planning on holding some type of community meeting, which would involve the law enforcement and residents. Mattson will be back in court on May 12th at 8:30 in the morning. He is ineligible for bail. I'm live in downtown Sacramento. Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Very disturbing new details, Roxanne. Keep us posted as you learn more. Thank you for the update.